Well, feeling anxious about the world around you, it is the perfect excuse to slip into a good book. Best-selling author Chantel Guertin has 4 great suggestions for this month's Well Read.
Yes, so the first one is We All Live Here by Jojo Moyes. She's a British author. I love her writing. And this story is a woman whose husband has just divorced her and is now married to another woman, a mother at the playground, like at the school.
Oh,
so she
they're
has
running
to
into
see
each-
that woman every day. And her mother has died. She has 2 daughters, and her stepfather comes to live with her, and then her estranged father also comes to live with her. So it's just the day-to-day life of, imagine having 2 like 75-year-old dads living in your house while you're trying to get over your divorce. And she's an author, and her she writes a lot about her own life, and her agent keeps saying, like, you got to write something, like, you're single now, like, how's this like amazing life you're having? And she's like, oh my gosh. So, and it's like the idea that where you find your community and family and love all wrapped into this book.
And maybe it makes your life look better. After reading that, you sat down and go, whoo. I really love your next pick, Small Things Like These.
Yes.
I love this book.
So I just read this for my book club, and it's a novella. So this is great. You could read this in a few hours. It's by Claire Keegan, and she's Irish. So I just thought it does take place at Christmas, but I thought, since it was just St. Patrick's Day,
it has a universal theme.
It really does. So it's this like family guy, this father. He has several children. I think he has 5 daughters and a wife, and they live in this small town. And he discovers when he does like nice things, and he goes to the convent where the nuns are, and he sees a woman who is locked up in a shed. And so it really dives in actually to the Magdalene laundries, which is where the nuns would put unwed mothers or keep them, and this really was happening until the late 90s.
Yeah, it was like slave labor, basically.
Yeah, so awful. And the story really talks about like community, and so like a lot of people obviously knew this was happening, so does he turn a blind eye, or does he not? Does he do the right thing? So I felt like it was such a beautiful sort of snapshot of just everyday life in a small town, and then this happens.
Yeah, and it's set not that long ago, like 1980s. Yeah. No Credit River is another interesting read. So I've read a lot of Zoe Whittle's stuff.
So you would know her writing.
Yeah.
And I had never read anything. Weirdly, I don't know why. She's, very well known, has won many awards. She's Canadian. So this is an interesting book that it is called prose poetry, or poetic prose. So what it is like, it's like a poem, but really it's written in prose, so like in sentences. So you feel like they're almost like little snippets of short stories. So sometimes they're 1 page, sometimes they're 3 pages, but it's a memoir. So it's about 6 years in her life, sort of going through the grief of the end of a relationship, but also kind of diving back on other relationships and friendships. And it goes a little bit through COVID, so there's that isolation factor. She moves to Prince Edward County in it from Toronto, and so I loved just like the references, and it was really an interesting read.
Okay, last one. We've got about 45 seconds for it. Things that cause inappropriate happiness.
Yes.
I'm just taken by the title of this.
So this is another Canadian author. She's actually born South African, but is Canadian, and it is short stories. So these are great, like little dives into various characters and their life, their everyday life, but also like guilt and grief and friendship and community, and you can read each of these in about 5 minutes.
Okay. Oh, you did that so nicely in less than 40 seconds. But great selections of kind of like knowing that other people are coping with things, and ways to cope, and finding your community, and just maybe setting the book down and thinking, maybe things aren't that bad.
Yeah,
okay,
totally.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
We'll get all titles up on our website, chch.com.